And welcome to what is episode 5 of the As It Is podcast. My name is Kathleen and I'm super excited to be on episode 5 already. So welcome to those who are listening to this wherever you're listening to it. Thank you for tuning in. Please give me a little follow, give it a little like or a download. It makes all the difference to just grow the podcast, and things happen slowly and organically, and it's amazing to see who's been drawn to watch these talks, to listen to this podcast. So thank you so much for that. And then of course these are conversations that are live. So I am live now on Instagram. Thank you everyone for joining. I see Alexia is here. I see Ez is here. Hello Peter. Hi Barbara. Hey Vicky. Welcome everyone. This is going to be, I just know this is going to be one of my favorite conversations. I think I say it like every time I do these. Like every time I do them, I feel so fulfilled. So very excited. I'll just give a way to see Alexia. Lex, you're going to just request to join. Let me see here. Oh, I can invite. You. We try and keep these chats to 30 minutes, but they always go longer, so we'll try and stay. Hi.
I am here. I made it. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think you can if you're responding.
Can you hear me, see me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can see you. I am so excited to be here.
Yay! You are looking so beautiful in that color. I don't see you in pink very often.
I have reclaimed my love of pink. I think probably growing up in the Legally Blonde era, there was a little bit of that time of, being a blonde who wears pink, just stereotypes and all the things. And I was like, I think for a long time, I was like, I am not a girl who wears pink. Whereas now I've been rediscovering pink and I love it. There's just something about it, so it's a whole new era for me with the pink era.
Love. And that is a good shade of pink that you've got on now as well. I must say, I think like all my friends laugh because like I'm just like obsessed with more of the like pastel of the pinks and the purples and the unicorn colors. They're just like, oh no, you can't take the pink away from me. I think it was, whether it's programming or not, I'm happy to keep my passion for pink.
Yes, you've held it.
How are you doing, babes?
I am feeling, what is my word for this week? I've been feeling so enthused this week. I just feel very centered in myself. I'm having a very full week, if I'm honest. Like there's so much going on. But it's all things I love, and it's all feeling very in alignment with what I'm creating. So, it's not that busy work feeling. It's really that feeling of like, wow, I'm evolving, I'm growing, I'm at a new edge of capacity and responsibility, and I feel like I'm for it. I'm in it. I feel like I came out of the Phoenix Rising experience of January and Feb. How about anybody else? But I felt like Jan and Feb were like something. And I know Ez is on there, but she'd probably agree with me on that one. It was just like something. And so I'm like, okay.
I feel you 100%. And you've also just come back from a whole trip to Jersey, up to Joburg and back. You've just, I've got your email open here on my laptop because there's a part of it that I want to read when we get into the thick of things that just stood out to me so much. And I think, the best place to get started is, I know some of you might already know Lex. If not, I think doing a little intro, just introducing yourself, a little bit of where you're from. I've got a lot of South Africans here in the chat, so I know they're going to be wondering accent, where's she from? Just a little bit on that, and then we'll take it from there.
Love it. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me here. I know this is just going to be, I've been so, again, enthused, excited for this conversation because I just love and adore you, everything you're creating, and I just know that your community has got to just be magnifique. So I'm a Californian, born and raised, yet I now live and love in beautiful Cape Town, South Africa. And I really just feel like I'm a woman of the world. You know, I'm a very global minded. I've also lived in Asia. So for me, I am someone who's here for, I'm very much led by my soul. I make a lot of courageous choices. And I think I've been a quite someone who's led a lot of people to initially question, like, what are you going to do? Why would you do that? Why would you leave this? Why would you do that? And I think there's a lot of my story we can talk about, whether it was me choosing, after having an entire academic background in the sciences, to choose not to follow the path of being a vet, then choosing to actually go into Silicon Valley and work for multiple tech companies there, choose to leave Silicon Valley in the prime, like not in like a hard time of it, like in the time when I had just been promoted, I'm seemingly rocking it. My boss was like, what are you doing? You're ruining your career. It was like, I headed to Bali to really go through a massive transformation healing there, which something I'll share there that I think is important is what did spark that was experiencing deep grief in the passing of my father. So I share that because I think many people can look at choices people make and they cannot know the full story of what it was. So I think for a lot of people, they projected this on me of like, is she running away? Does she have any direction? And I said, no, I am consciously realizing I need to find myself. I have lost myself in caring for this person. Now that he's passed, I'm realizing I have no understanding of who I am in this world except being the achiever and the projection that everyone wants me to be. So that led me there. I learned so much, had my eyes blown wide open on so many topics related to leadership, conscious business, you know, Ayurveda. Like I just had it was the start of my spiritual awakening. I ended up going back to tech. I'm giving the quick like of it all. I went back to tech and I share that because it was not a linear path at all. And I think that's really important for people to realize, because I think a lot of people beat themselves up for that. I actually went back into tech because I got literally handed the dream job according to everything I thought I wanted, which was, I think, a huge gift to actually go through the full ego journey. And, you know, worked with the billionaire mentor, like worked for the dream company, like had the epic title, like did the whole thing, was at the epic events with all of like the top, like a lot of top leaders in the States and worldwide. And ultimately my soul kept whispering. It kept saying, Lex, this is not your path. You need to make a move. And I knew I was called forward to start my own business. And I share that because it's also like, I think many people were sitting at that moment where people are waiting for something to come, but it's like, you probably have already had the soul whispers. It's just, you have to actually take the action and follow it. And I think my story is just an example of someone who's actually heard the call. Maybe sometimes it's taken a couple of times. There's been many moments where I'm like, I don't know, but I got to do this thing because I know it's me. It's not someone else telling me I got to do something. And I've done it. And now I have this incredible business that I love, the EMPRESS brand, that I just feel so grateful that I get to help incredible women around the world create world-class businesses and brands and live beautiful lives while they do it, doing their soul service.
Can I just say that your energy is explosive at the moment? Like my dimples are so sore from smiling at you already, because I can just see that you are just so in alignment and so in your power. And it makes me, not that I think I've really ever seen you not in your power. I think since I've met you, I've always been in awe of that. But it's like you said, it does seem like an up level. It does seem like an expansion that you've had. And it's so clear to see. And I forget how similar our journeys actually have been, because we've spoken about this when I first met you, and probably only when I first kind of became a client of yours, that we really opened up and discussed that I wanted to do veterinary when I was younger. And I also left production when I had just gotten the promotion, just gotten the offers, just gotten the big accounts. And that was also my tipping point, where I got there and I was like, I've got all of this now, but I actually don't want any of it. And I'm going to go a full like flip 180 and go in the other direction. So I really feel you on that. And it is scary. It is a scary thing to do, but I think it like you say, the soul whispers, and it will continue, and you'll always hear it, whether it's down to the smallest things, you know, whether it's down to your intuition of what you're going to eat, whether it's to the bigger decisions of should I leave my job, whether it's calling in a partner, whatever it is you're looking for, that internal guidance is always there. And that's what I really love. One of the things that I really love about you and all your work, and what you really inspire entrepreneurs like myself to do is to listen to that and to really find the truth. And it's so interesting because at the moment in my classes, we are
we did this in 2020, and we're re-looking at it again now, is the 8 limbs of yoga. And beginning the 8 limbs of yoga is the first limb, which is the yamas, of which the second is satya, which is truthfulness. And how the whole concept of satya and truthfulness is about being able to be honest with yourself and really see things as they are. And I think that that is such a beautiful starting point for anyone looking to, you know, like you say, make that change, or maybe switch into their own business, or change something up in their own business. It's a tough one. But from the expert herself, I would love for you to share a little more about the EMPRESS brand, how it came along, when did you get, and how did you get that download to be like, this is what I want to be doing? And maybe a little bit, I mean, I know it's super complicated, and I know, like you say, you know, it's not a linear journey. It hasn't gone up, grown up. It's rather been shift side to side, pivots, change. Share a little bit about the EMPRESS journey, and just those who are listening, tell them a little bit more about what it entails.
Yes. Oh, I love it. And I love how much our story has those synergies of you also wanting to be a vet. And I think it just is such a reminder, because I think many people can look at where someone is at and not realize and not honor the story that's led them to where they are, and not honor the courage that it takes, like you named, to actually take those courageous steps, to even be courageous, to be honest enough with yourself to listen to the soul whisper in our culture and in our world that often just wants to tells you that everyone else's opinions are more important than yours, you know. And obviously there's an energy of that happens when you're growing up, because you're a kid. You got to kind of go through and you learn all these things, yet we come into adulthood, and that's that moment when we have to actually get honest about who we really are and what we really stand for and what we deeply desire and believe. And so I really love that in your story too. Whew, the EMPRESS, where did it start? So I would say I got the intuition that I wanted to start a movement. That's literally what came through, which my sister recently, I think it was like a year ago, because she's been part of one of my programs now, or a couple of them. She was like, I'll never forget when I was living in Bali, and I was like, because imagine I'm in Silicon Valley world, right? Where like the types of businesses people start are like these tech SaaS companies, this very specific route. And I always related to being quite an ambitious go-getter in life, yet it was just very much on the hustle spectrum, you know, versus like, what does it really mean to be in flow and momentum with a vision that fuels and channels through me? That was a big shift. And so my business, in a lot of ways, I think the first iteration of my brand actually started with this whole idea of the fierce movement, but I spelled it, because I am totally the heretic, like one that loves to think differently that way, was like, I spelled it differently. I love making up words. This is a fun fact about me. So it was called FEARCE movement. And it was really this moment where I realized I had something to share. And I think this is really important, because something I stand for so much now when I tell people, and we're kind of flashing forward to the EMPRESS brand, which is me really now standing so much for you getting clear about the soul of your brand and business, is because it's actually quite simple, actually. But the world loves to make us think it's overcomplicated and we need all these extra fancy schmancy things. When in reality, when I look back at that version of me in Bali, like that's what she knew. She, like, all I needed was my story. I just started sharing. I started putting together workshops. I realized I had a unique lens on fear. And that was what had led me to make so many courageous steps and do things that just like stepped outside the norm. And so I realized I had something to share there. And that's what it was I realized I was a really good connector. I was very aware of my talents and my natural gifts. And I had just gotten really clear on that. And so some of the things I just knew was, yeah, I'm definitely a connector. I realized I've always, even back in the day, been really good at being part of many different groups of friends. I was never like in one group and then was only there. I was always the one, like back in high school, who was like, so I was a medical nerd, like was in the medical program, on the tennis team, part of this. Like I always loved meeting people in different worlds and bringing them together. And so that was where it started. It was literally workshops, just bringing my voice forward and just being courageous enough to just be like, I am okay, that not everyone's going to get this. And it can be difficult because people misunderstand or they don't get it, or a lot of people have to meet you new because you're reintroducing yourself. And so they have a lot of projections of who you think you are. And so they come across their own tension point of meeting the new version of you. But to remember that's actually them going through that and not yourself. And so there was that. And then I actually, to go to the linearity, like went back into corporate. That's where I had that massive up level in business, like a whole other version, which I know is important because it has given me so much awareness in what I do now. And then I went off and was like, okay, I want to focus on female leaders. Why have I been at so many tables where I'm the only woman in the room? And even the women I do see in business are burnt out, exhausted most of the time. Like, where are the women who are thriving and who are really deeply in alignment with themselves and their creativity and these bigger pieces of themselves? And so that's where I went all in on my business. Was I'm like, okay, I left that last job, was like, I'm going all in on this business thing. Oh my gosh. I look back at that time, there was overwhelm and all the things, because it's like, what does this mean? Who am I? What's my identity? How do I operate in the world, as we both know? And then the Empress, then there was a journey of that, of just experimenting, just freaking being courageous and starting and putting myself out there over and over again, creating content, meeting my voice. Yet the Empress channeled through as a downloaded meditation, which I can't deny came from me just having very strong creative rituals and a lot of energy focused on knowing my voice. And when it came in, it made no sense to anybody else, which is something in my work I really focus on with the women in my world. Is usually your creative thing, and you know it's not just a trend, or it's just not a fad, or it's not just something you picked up on social media, it's because it's something that pulses through you, that you know you're here to bring forward. Like, I believe we have a soul of a brand that we are then the steward. We are the CEO, but it's its own consciousness. So I am actually in deepest respect of that, of the Empress brand. And so it all started as that, and my fiance was like, what in the world? My now husband was like, what is this? Empress, blah, 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 blah. Like, what is she talking about? And then it just step by step by step by step by step by step, and I say that intentionally, it has every moment she in the consciousness has revealed to me what she wants next. And I just consistently show up for it. And I think that's the big key.
I'm loving the like a full body goosebumps for that. That's incredible. I love that.
Yeah. And every day she's got another evolution. It's just, but I love that in others, because I can see how I needed to go through that process, because I can see that I can then really watch it in others. Because I'll be honest, any of my clients will know, anyone, and you've watched it probably with me too firsthand, if there's a lot of shiny opportunities people get held, but I am not here for the ego-led model of success. Been it, walked it. There's a lot of it in the business world. There's a lot of it in the coaching space. We're lacking soul. But I can tell when someone has a soul-aligned, soul-led opportunity, mission, and that's what I'm here for. And it doesn't mean we're not going to judge you because you have the ego thing. It's just that we get to just get in there a little bit and be like, let's find the deeper truth, because that's where you're going to get the real fulfillment and joy in the process.
That's such a beautiful segue, because I actually want to read a bit of your latest newsletter, which, if you guys are not signed up to it, I can highly recommend signing up. You can just contact Lex, or I'm sure they can sign up through your Instagram, right? You've got a link there to your website, sign up there. And I just want to read a short part of it. I actually wish I could read the whole thing, but we don't have time for that. People are going to have to sign up for it. And what it says is, the problem I have is the focus on money and speed as the epitome of success and wealth. This tunnel vision focus on the external metrics of quick cash injections and revenue is what I call ego-led model of entrepreneurship. The truth is that revenue is only one facet of business success and only one aspect of wealth. There is also an abundance of wealth and success in time freedom, impact, service, legacy, purpose, honoring your well-being, and living a joyful, fulfilling, and meaningful lifestyle. And I read that and I was just like, I want abundance in all of those things before I would even need to want abundance within the actual money, wealth part of my life. Like, I feel like those are almost the foundations that we need. And then, like you also said in your newsletter, but it's also cool. I love money and money loves me. And that comes with its own time. I think there's a lot of relationships that need to be healed with money. I mean, you'll know, you and Ez and Annette do a lot of work around that. And I think that's actually a nice segue for us to lead into one of the questions that I was asking you to maybe give us a little bit of insight into is, and maybe mistakes is the wrong word to use, maybe misguided is a better word to use, but what would you say are the three ways in which entrepreneurs, whether you're a brand new entrepreneur or whether you may be upscaling your business, what do you feel kind of like the three mistakes that they're making at the moment or making in their business?
First and foremost, thank you for reading that. Isn't it amazing when you write something, but then when someone else reads it back, I get to receive it to myself too. Like, so thank you for that and for sharing that. And oh my goodness. So I think what feels aligned and how I'll share my mistakes, learnings, what I really see, to your point, the misled route that we can get caught on, is I operate from a context where I think the big mistake in a context form is trying to lead, live, and create a business from the outside in, which is what I know I got told over and over again from my first support systems. I think it's what everything in the business world says. Like, I remember when I got on and started my business, everything was like, master the Instagram algorithm, figure out an email newsletter. I created marketing funnels at a time it made no sense for me to make marketing funnels. Like, I didn't even have the basis figured out before I was doing marketing funnels. Like, everything gets you so caught on this like hamster wheel of adding all this complexity to things. And so I think for me, the big mistake is getting caught in that narrative and that paradigm, which I'll tell you is very easy for many people to get caught in because it's the norm, I would say, of a lot of what I've at least seen. And so what I love to invite is actually stepping into business and leading from the inside out, which is what goes into that conversation, which is first, design your lifestyle. We got to get radically honest about what lifestyle you want to lead, because that's going to impact your business model. That's going to impact how you show up. That's going to impact the growth and the speed at which you want to do it. Because for me, I am not someone like my well-being is such a big thing I foster and focus on. My marriage, like, I don't want a quick cash injection that puts a lot of strain on my marriage. You know, I'm like very mindful, and I'm here for my legacy. I'm here for the long haul. So I think that's a big piece, is first off, just a context of building business from the outside is the overarching context. And some of the mistakes I see play out here is you get really caught on the trend treadmill of just on Instagram, like just seeing what's working, and then people just naturally almost like want to get on it and just like follow the trend. But then you literally end up with the worst boss, which is yourself, and an audience that you, like, most people don't even enjoy, or a community, because it's actually like you're just being fed what you think you have to be versus who you genuinely are and your unique mission forward. I think the other big mistake is they don't take the time to really know their own value and their own competence and do that inner work to be really clear on who they are in their unique thought leadership, their unique, like, something a big piece for me is like, what is your unique voice? What is your unique expression? Making a brand to me has always been really important, because that allows you to really speak beyond words. And I think I'm here for you being not just seen on social media, which I don't buy into, like, you have to post every 5 seconds. I'm here for you being known, and to be known and to have your content speak for time to come. I trust that someone could come on my Instagram, they could see stuff from 2 years ago, and it will still support. And the last piece I would say as a mistake that people, I mean, there's like lots of little bits we could go with on this, you know. There's lots. I'll leave it there, because I'm like, I could just keep riffing on this one.
What I've done that you should not do.
Yeah, I'm like, literally, I've done, and I say this lovingly because I've done most of them. Like, honestly, overcomplicating, like I said, is a huge one. I think really keeping it simple, really making sure you really, really hone your craft. Be someone who hones their craft. And I think the biggest mistake with, like, why people don't do that is it requires all-in commitment. You got to show up. Like, if you're going to do it, give it your whole heart, give it your whole being, honor all of your life. But we've already gone into that, right, with lifestyle design. But if you're going to say, I'm going to show up for this mission, make sure you go all in on it. Because I think the biggest problem is a lot of people are half-hearted, and they don't know why the results don't happen, and they don't know why they're not getting it. It's like, are you really committed to the consciousness you're bringing forward in your mission? Are you really doing that? Or are you actually kind of in it, dipping it, keeping yourself safe? There's no safety. And one context I'll say is one of my biggest shifts I realized was, I'm not here to be liked. I'm here to be in integrity with my soul.
Mm. I'm dealing with that so much at the moment in my own personal work is that idea of not everyone's going to like you and not everyone's going to agree with you. And in fact, if everyone is agreeing with you all the time, then there might be something a little wrong. There might be something that's actually not in alignment because, and I think, you've said this to me as well, when you're thinking of who are you serving and who's in your businesses or who are your clients, is if you're trying to serve everyone, if you're trying to help everyone, you actually just end up helping no one.
Yep.
And I think that's the same from like a personal standpoint, is if you're trying to please everyone, you actually really end up disappointing yourself the most out of everyone in the room. And so that's powerful. That's going to be a good little takeaway for me. Again, it keeps popping up, like in books I'm reading, series that I'm watching, it just keeps popping up with all these kind of people and characters being like, you don't have to like me, not everyone has to like me, and I can just do my thing. And you can still do it in a kind way, and you can still do it in integrity. That's really, really beautiful. I want to, because I will go into a million directions in this conversation. I want to keep us on track because one of the other things that I wanted to ask your what's the word? Not opinion, your I've completely lost the word. Anyways, I had a question for you to ask.
I'm with you
on the same train as the with the entrepreneurship question is, in the current times with us, I think very much feeling the effects of COVID still. I know for me personally, you've worked with me for a couple of years now, and my business was born out of COVID. I was completely unemployed in 2020, and I've built from there, and how everything has changed. And I mean, if we look at, the world economy right now is like quite a train smash. The stock exchange is going crazy. We've got South Africa, we've got the load shedding here, we've got all kinds of things happening. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs are feeling the crunch. And so what would your advice be to entrepreneurs at the moment? There's kind of like 2 or 3 little golden nuggets that you can give to be like, these are 3 tools or 3 ideas or 3 concepts that you can maybe bring into your business.
I love it. And I've loved watching you from the COVID time. And what a good example, actually, of what I would say, right? COVID times, a lot of people just saw the obstacles, yet you saw the opportunity, which I think is a very important energy of differentiation from many. Is you, in any situation, I think in the world we're operating in, it's never been more important to hone the entrepreneurial mindset, which who also knows that you need to know yourself. It's no one else's job to tell you what your value is. It is your job first and foremost to do it. And so I think if you in this market can do the inner work, which is why I'm so big on building it business from the inside out, is if you know yourself, if you can be so quick to honor what is your why in life, what the heck wakes you up in the morning? Why do you truly get fueled and have purpose? What are your natural talents and gifts that you really beautifully and effortlessly channel through you? And what are your competencies? What are you just what have you gained? What have you learned? What is your wisdom? Which for me, going into your brand story, which I could probably put as the second one, is a key pillar of that. And if you know these things, then no matter if your industry evaporates or something happens or AI comes in or whatever happens, you're going to be able to be like, okay, current context, where can I serve? Because that's who we are as entrepreneurs. We are here to serve. And I think it can be so overcomplicated again. And I think that goes into my second point, which is keep it simple. Like there's so many, like people that create these obsessive, like too many expenses in their business. They add all these extra fancy schmancy things. Depending on your stage, like for me, I've always invested in mentorship and support as my number one. And that's led me to take either things slower so I could grow it that way and build myself and build my deep, like what you said to me now, like the evolution you've watched me in is because I think I have, and I can really be radically honest. I've been in deep integrity with my own speed and my own honoring of consistently investing in support at every step of the way. Like even this year, I've just come out of an epic, ending this week, an epic mentorship with Africa Brooke, who's one of my mentors. And that's because I knew I was at a next up level related to a project coming later this year. And I was like, I can see where I want to like really step into another level in myself. So I think getting the mentorship is such a key piece, and whatever way that looks like in today's world, you can get it in so many capacities. And so, but finding that, because there's no beauty in trying to figure it all by yourself. Like you can definitely piecemeal and honor your journey on it, but get support, because I think especially as women, we're very like, look at us go. We want to be the super women, and we can almost like, and we've been so conditioned, many of us, to just like do everything by ourselves and struggle to say that we need support and actually invest in ourselves. I'll even say, as like a side note here, the last tech company I worked for was in the microbiome space. We were really focused on helping solve the problem of chronic illness. I had women at the booth, because I was in charge of really being at the booths at the events and meeting with clients and customers directly, who would be the ones who it was so obvious through first step, like look at them, that they needed what the product was, that this would actually deeply support their well-being. And they had kids and they were like, just had a baby. There was so much in it. Yet guess what would happen? I don't know if I can invest in myself. Maybe I should get it for my husband. He's been having some gut stuff. Oh, maybe like as women, there's a lot of tendency to not feel like we're worthy of investing of, and getting past that edge of doing it for your growth is a whole other energy that I think as entrepreneurs, it's a must have. Like if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you're choosing the journey of growth and learning consistently, because every moment of the journey, there's new edges. So that would be another key piece. And then the last thing I say is, I have a framework called really cultivating the soul of your brand. And that to me is about really honoring your craft. It's getting really clear on your story. I think our story is one of the key pieces. That is the reason why so many brands don't stand out and aren't magnetic, and is the key piece to creating content that really connects. And I think in my story I've watched, the more I know my brand story, the more I've cultivated my story, the more it's given me so much guidance into who I'm here to be, what I'm here to evolve into, the wisdom I've uniquely picked up, what I am here to walk with. And it's what gives me so much, not just confidence, embodied confidence, because I consistently come back to my brand story. I consistently go through that journey. So I think that's a key piece. It's not, I think back to my early days, no one was like, okay, Lex, go figure out your story. You know, go figure out your brand story. It was here's the 5-step hacks to create content on Instagram. And I'll leave it with this. Instagram's not complicated in terms of knowing how to post. We are all incredibly competent people. We can figure that out really quick. The hard part is knowing what you uniquely are here to say and what you want to stand for. And that's where the inner helps create the outer.
I love your second point about continuing support and continuing education. It's like a big thing for me. As a yoga teacher, I can only teach what I know, and I can only know more by lived experience, but also by actually putting in the work to learn more. And I find that yes, we can learn a lot from videos and YouTube and books, and that is one type of learning. It's actually not how I learned very well. I did not do super well at school. I'm not like an academic book person. But put me in a conversation with someone, put me in a room with another yoga teacher, let me go to workshops, let me do courses. You know, those kinds of things are what really fuels me and helps me to grow as a teacher. I think in any career that you're in, you are constantly being sent on courses, trying to learn, trying to upgrade your skills. And I think often as an entrepreneur, there's this feeling that I don't, like you said earlier, I don't deserve to spend money on myself because I need to grow my business, or the money needs to go into the business, or the business isn't making enough money for me to spend this on myself. But it is that kind of chicken egg situation where actually it's like, no, if you invest that money back into yourself, that is going to automatically grow your business. And, you know, you speaking out of experience and in this, and I can 100% like high five you and say, absolutely. When I took the jump to invest in some time with you, and we did it very briefly, and then I chose to go back in my corporate roots. But even in that brief, you know, exchange that we had, you helped me to see everything I needed to see. And a year later, that business that we discussed was born and had manifested. And you're going to laugh at this, but a friend came over to me the other night, and she wanted to do a tarot reading. She wanted me to do a tarot reading for her. So I did a reading for her, and she didn't share what she didn't share with me what she wanted. She just repeated it to herself. She worked with the deck, and then we did the reading, but I didn't really know what it was about. And then same for me. She said, do you want to say it out loud? And I was like, no, I want to keep it to myself. And it was business related, and I wanted a clarity spread. And so when you draw a clarity spread, you've got one main card, and then you've got 3 cards that are the contributing factors to the scenario. And guess what the main card was? It was the Empress. And I was just like, okay, I just got the answer to my question. Now it's time to figure out, using these nice little contributing factors, how we're going to go from there. I actually forgot to tell you about it, but I took a photo, and I was like, as you flip the card over, I was like, you are firstly joking with me. But anyways, but yeah, I love all of those. So thank you for sharing. And you know, keeping to the point of starting from within, I think moving a little bit more on a personal level, and this could even be I mean, I feel like you've integrated your personal, your business, all of that so well together. What are 3 ways in which you help to keep yourself aligned and grounded and keep yourself kind of, you know, very, very connected?
Love it. And I love that story. That story is so good. And that's the first time I've ever had someone be like, and the Empress came to speak to me. Lex?
She literally came and she was like, hello, Kathleen.
Hello. She made it. Yeah. So I can't make these moments up. I love this question because this goes into so much of what we're talking about. Because I think a lot of business conversations are always just like, okay, and next business thing and next strategy. And you and I are not, like, I am all for honoring the gift of strategy, honoring the gift of these things, yet they need to come after this first key piece, which I think is a very clear thing. We're not like, and then you do the inner work forever, and then you never take action. We're like, no. You do the inner work, that you take such powerful aligned action. I'm not here for you trying to like go a million directions. I'm here for you taking very intentional, clear steps forward with something fueling you forward, which is a very big difference. So to answer your question, yeah, I mean, one, I love all those things of energetic rituals and tools of all the nature. So the first thing I'll share is I love the tool, the Gene Keys. You know, I share about it in my work. It's a very big pillar and foundation. It's something that I've been walking with and contemplating with for years, for 5 to 6 years. It has given me so many insights into knowing myself. It offers you a soul map. So a huge part of my work is honoring the soul and how that expresses in business, in leadership, and in our lives, in the beauty of our lives. And I find that tool is something that has consistently given me a lot of understanding. And I use it a lot in my work with clients on what is your brand? What is the energetic behind it? What are you really here to stand for? What are some of your biggest challenges you're actually going to walk through? And I think the coolest part is it's like a language. It hits a language to your soul that's so unique to the person that it's wild. Like we've put it next to like even my family members, people I collaborate with. I know my team members, anyone I work with. If Ez is still here, I know so many bits and bobs, and it helps me consistently know very clearly where I can show up, where other people can show up. And in my marriage, game changer, we speak so much in the language of understanding what each of us need, because we're both driven entrepreneurs in that way and here to stand for things. So the Gene Keys would be the first. That's like honestly the thing that gives me so much clarity that it wouldn't be fair if I didn't actually say like one of the greatest things that has ever and consistently, I think, is why I have so much clarity at so many steps, which is why I've brought it in. Another big piece is I'm very aware that my well-being has to be the foundation. And so and if anyone wants this, part of my journey is, as you said about personal life, taking a lot of my tools and things I use and actually sharing it. That's a huge thing. Anything I share in my work anyways is because I have tried and tested it, which in my human design Gene Keys, it says that I do that. I go and heavily research and do all the things. And I'm like, okay, I have created this and I'm past it. Yeah. Like my Empress, I have this Empress habits and rituals tracker. And every week, my husband and I both do it. It helps me stay very accountable to my focus for the week. And I keep it all very simple. And I have very specific things like my Kundalini yoga that I do every day. And I have even accountability for that. My two friends, Eslin and Annette, we have a group where we actually keep each other on that. You know, I have very specific rituals on even business, right? Like things that I'm like, if there's an area I'm like trying to, I have straight up done this for social media where like, if there's a week or even right now, guaranteed it's on my ritual right now because I'm in the middle of sharing about a program and things I'm so excited about. So I've actually put it as something because I can see in myself, like it's an area where I have to be really mindful, like I'm going to keep showing up. Yay. And I like to celebrate. So I find this also allows us to celebrate ourselves and actually see it. And I think that's so important is that gives me kind of like, you know, everyone's all about revenue, right? But this is actually this dashboard of this one page of my habits and rituals tracker every week tells me very clearly whether I am genuinely living the Empress lifestyle or not. So there's that, which is huge. And then, like I said, community. You have to surround yourself. Like one of my biggest things is I am so fortunate in that I have incredible friends. I'm very choosy. It's been a journey, to be frank, and I think many of us walk it, of allowing relationships to close, getting so clear, which is part of the journey of when you deeply know yourself, when you know what you're here for, you upgrade your energetic standards in such a potent way that naturally it makes a lot of things, whether it's your health, like things you used to eat that don't really resonate anymore, the relationships that just naturally can't be part of it anymore, you know. But I would say for me, I really foster like-hearted community and I put energy into my relationships and I'm very aware of what is part of my elevation and what are the spaces. Because to me also relationships are responsibility. I don't take it lightly. And I think that last piece you said earlier about why intimacy is a very key reason. And I think that's why the inner work matters so much. And that's why in mentorship, it's so powerful and why courses aren't as powerful in some ways, like, or videos on YouTube, because there is nothing like the transformation that comes from intimacy, which if you're in a container where someone really is there, the blind spots show up, the things that you can't see are there. And that's so important. I think that's one of my biggest things is having spaces where honesty is through and through a key pillar.
Back to truthfulness.
Yes, I know. It's funny how it came back to that.
Came back to that. That's beautiful. And I need to learn more about the gene keys from you. It's been I mean, I've only just had my human design. I've only really just gotten into that. Sarah, who actually was on the retreat with us where we met, she did my reading for me, and it's been a big game changer for me, personally, for my business, the way I interact with information. It's just been like a total game changer. So gene keys is also one of those things that's kind of been popping up for me. So I'm definitely going to look into that. And yeah, I love that you have accountability with people who, you know, really are there to genuinely and truthfully uplift you and be there to support you. I think that's so important, to find a community, and that it doesn't have to be a large group of people, and it also isn't always necessarily the people that you think it's going to be or expect it to be. You know, I think often we just assume that it should be your family member, or it should be your partner, it should be, but actually everyone in your life plays such a different role, and everyone that's in your life is really there to show up potentially for a different aspect in your life and to support you in a different way. So that's also quite a nice takeaway from this, is that, you know, you can't expect every person in your life to show up for every single thing that you need. Every person in your life can maybe contribute in their own unique way, you know, like you say, with their own unique gifts to support you in whichever way they can. But you are, I know you are very lucky, and you're surrounded by some powerful women who are also yet and still to be on this podcast and have these conversations with me. I think we should try like a group one at some stage where there's like 3 of us or like 4 of us, and we can get into the thick of things. But I'm going to let that be our segue to kind of the final question, or the final idea or concept of the podcast, which is As It Is. The name of this podcast came to me in a download, and then it was shone in my face at Vipassana, because it's one of the things that's said over and over and over in Vipassana, is just seeing things as they are. And so my question to you is, what does that statement and that concept mean to you?
I think you're going to laugh because it's so full circle. I think that just means living in truth. So every single moment, every single day, meeting my truth, meeting what I'm being led to. We have these visions. I don't hold to goals much. I really am focused on commitments and the vision. I'm very much a vision commitments person, because I think goals can keep you so fixated again on just like never feeling enough and constantly waiting for that day to feel like you've made it. And so I focus on commitments. Like, I choose every day to be, right? Like, what does that mean for you as a person? Like, what does that stand for? So even when I create programs, I won't be like, oh, it has to be this revenue metric. It's like, I know that if I show up, so if I'm so committed to showing up in the fullness of my expression for what I'm here to bring, I trust that exactly how things grow is exactly what is in divine alignment. And I think this is super powerful because it allows me in every day when I wake up to allow for shifts, or when we were saying earlier, when industries change, when the world is changing, there's a lot more peace, I think, in us sitting in the truth that there's going to be discomfort, right? Like in life, I'm sure, like at your Vipassana, there was plenty of discomfort, right? But it's that honoring of, this is my truth. And every soul whisper, as we both said, can create this idea. And one thing I'll say with that is, like, a last thing that popped in is everyone, the dynamic of, yes, when you step in and often make a courageous choice, you go for the thing you want, or you follow the soul whisper. Yes, for many, there can be discomfort because you're at an edge. You're meeting another version of who you are, that you're at, as it, like in this moment, being called into stepping, because now it's the divine timing. Yet a lot of people want to disregard the fact of the cost of the discomfort they face every day settling. So it's not that you aren't dealing with some discomfort. It's just, what discomfort are you going to choose? Discomfort that allows for no opportunity to be watering a new garden, a possibility, and flowers to blossom, and a whole world of opportunity. But if you step in and follow those soul whispers, yes, there may be discomfort, and consistently you're planting seeds for beautiful new life, beautiful new opportunities, beautiful opportunity and things to come your way.
I love that. Love that. Love that. Thank you so much, Dex. I mean, I will chat to you forever. We have gone over time, as I knew we would.
I had a feeling.
But it was such a beautiful conversation, and thank you so much. Yeah, your insight and the information that you shared is really, really priceless. I know that you have just sent out that email. I think it's the Soulpreneur class that you are offering. So I don't know if you want to just leave us with that, and any information where people can find you. What's the best way to get in contact with you? Yeah.
Love it. So I am so enthused with what you said in the beginning of my energy right now, because this masterclass experience that's happening next week, it's a free experience. I know this is what I wish I had been given. This is what, honestly, even now is what's completely shifting and has helped me refine even my business empire at this place. And I can see where it's led to the next evolution of my brand. And so I want this to just touch as many women. I want as many women in this, because I know, and I've put a lot of soul and heart into laboring this to really bring forward a quality value experience. And I'm keeping it simple. I'm keeping it real. I know if you're in my space, like, you're going to come into a space and I'm going to give you the deep goodies, the real stuff. I'm here for transformation. And so I'm hosting this next week. I would love, love, love for any of you who have been in this conversation, who are at an edge, and you're either wanting to leave a 9-to-5, you've been an aspiring entrepreneur, you've been maybe wanting to think about how to build an online brand so you could have some, like I said, so in this market we're in, regardless, you can be an entrepreneurial minded person who can always find her way no matter what comes. Or if you have been in it for some time, I think I've been in that moment where we can still feel like we're a bit like scattered, or things aren't quite in flow. And there's so much in this that helps to just tighten everything up and really bring you back into the heartbeat and the truth. So I am so excited, Kathy. Like I said, I have literally been like, I talked to my stepsister earlier today, and she was like, you are just absolutely like, ready to go. And I am. I can't wait for it. It's going to be buzzing with energy. It'll be like freaking espresso shot beyond espresso shot beyond espresso shot probably, because I'll be buzzing.
Oh, amazing. And it's so wonderful to see you like this and to feel your energy. And yeah, just thank you so much for sharing. Thank you to everyone who was here. I saw there were quite a few comments, so we'll go back and go have a look at your comments and get back to you guys. I think you can do that on this. You can get back to them later.
I've never figured that out, which I'm always
I think so, but thank you for everyone who is here. Not everyone is supposed to be like you. Absolutely is. Most people have no idea what their brand stands for and what their truth is and how that will serve others. And I think these are all things you're going to be chatting about next week, which is just epic. Thanks for being here, babes. So lovely to have you. I always love it when I see familiar faces pop up here, and I can just imagine that they're sitting somewhere drinking a coffee and listening to us talk a whole bunch of stuff. But thanks, babes. Have a beautiful evening. I will see you next week then, and we will chat soon. And super exciting things, everyone. You can go over to Lexi's Instagram, pop her a message, find out more. I know you take on one-on-one clients. I know that you don't take on 1 million of them. So if anyone is interested and you want to grab a spot, then you need to do it sooner than later, because she only opens a certain amount of spots. And as a former client, I can 100% say it will change not only your business, it will change your life. And yeah, that Empress card is like flashing here in everywhere, so who knows what happens from here.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for creating this incredible community you have, and just for showing up. I've had the privilege of walking with you, watching you as you have followed your soul whispers, that you are such a testament to someone who is in deep devotion and in service. And I just see you so deeply on it, and just walking your talk and showing up and just caring about people so deeply is just, when I think of you, that makes my heart just absolutely brim. So I see you, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thank you everyone for being here. Have a wonderful week. I'm actually going off social media from tomorrow. I'm going to Tribe. I'm facilitating at the amazing Pasithea Project's Tribe event, which is a 7-day cultural experience, and I cannot wait to share more about it when I get back. So until then, lots of love, and I'll see you all soon.
Yay. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.